G'day, Builder Jim here. Now, this video has two caveats. Caveat number one is I think I should call this Burkroom building because it's about 35 degrees outside, and inside this room here it's a hot box and it must be at least 55 degrees. Caveat number two, this is basically a tutorial video on renovation handyman plastering. The reason that's a caveat is because obviously as a builder or a large scale builder or a large scale renovation project, you'll get professional plasters in to do the job. So this is just a little bit of a guidance video on how to do some bits and pieces. So let's start with what we're doing here today. So basically, a little bit of a funny project, this one, story to it, but anyway. This used to be a walk-in pantry and the client has changed it to a laundry. So we've left up quite a lot of plaster, built some new walls, we've had to remove plaster from existing walls, and we're leaving some walls. So we're leaving these walls here. The plumbers had to get in and the sparkies had to get in to do their works down the bottom here. So I just cut out this plaster, left them aside, they'll get in there. We use those same pieces of plaster because they're fine. And then for the other walls, this is an existing wall, so we'll sort of clear it up a little bit. We've insulated it, a bit of sound insulation, then we'll put new sheets of plaster on it. And here we've got another variety of wall. This is a new wall. Well, there was a wall there, but we pulled it all out because we've got different cladding. Then we've got a new window going in, some new studs, some old studs, and all the work. So as you can see, we're doing a bit of a bits of job. So to start with, the existing studs we were pulled off the plaster. We need to make sure that we get rid of anything that could interfere with the new plaster sheets going. You don't have old glue, you don't have screws, you don't have any sort of major imperfections in the timber. So let's have a quick look. So we've got the old glue here that never came off when the old plaster got pulled off. So we're going to chisel that away. Alright, so that's done. Get the gist of it, clear the studs. Next, got the plaster that we took off. That piece fits in there nicely. Does have a missing piece in the corner there, but it will make that work. But the reason I wanted to do this is an example of what you can do. Not necessarily best practice because, to be honest, it's just time consuming. Using existing materials takes longer to make it work than it does to buy new stuff. If you were going to do this, this is a love job for me, to be honest. That's why we're doing this. But if you were going to do this for a new house, a new build, major renovation, everything just comes off. New plaster goes on. The scraping back all this old glue and stuff to get it right, not ideal. However, this is what you can do. Sheet of plaster sits there. We've got a power point coming out here, and we've got our plumbing pipes there. So we need to measure them And then we need to drill the holes so we can put the plaster in. So what I've done is I've marked the back of the plaster where these two plumbing points are that need to come through. I'll now measure up to the centre, and then on that plaster I'll measure up to 310 millimetres, drill a hole through in line with where I marked them vertically, and slot the holes. Best thing for this is a hole saw. Alright, so we've got our hole saws. For me, old hole saws for plaster, because anything that's not timber will wreck the teeth. Another important thing to explain is that there's a cabinet going in here, there's joinery. So we don't need that hole to be as snug as we would if it was going to be exposed. So we'll use a little bit of a bigger hole saw than required. So, we don't have to bugger rolls around too much. The other thing is, I'll just check this before I do the power. Alright, perfect. Easy as that. Next thing, power point. So we know it's here. Then we'll measure off the existing bit that it's going in at and check where the centre is. 80 mil. We know that's our centre line there because I checked over here. I'm in at 80 mil. Now again, this one isn't inside of a cabinet. That's going to be exposed. The bench washing machine goes under there. So, our friends, the Sparkies, they're very precious. And they need everything done right for them. Because if they don't get it right, they'll just kick a hole in the wall with their boot. Well, that's what it feels like anyway. So my mates the Sparkies will like that one. So, got sidetracked. 54mm hole saw for Sparkies. They want 54mm hole saws overlapped. So not one hole next to one hole, overlapped. Watch. And so that's our centre of our point there. So we're going to go halfway over, hole there, and we're going to start the hole, the next one in there. And that works perfect for Australian power points. Not sure about elsewhere. But everywhere you go, it's slightly different, slightly the same. That's the insulation away from that. Beautiful. Now what we won't do for these little pieces of plaster, what we won't do is use stud adhesive. So it just takes up too much of the stud to our area, because we only need to put 3 screws in each stud. You need to always put a screw in the top and a screw in the bottom anyway, and you need to screw off each end anyway. So we'll literally be putting one bit of stud adhesive, one bit of stud adhesive there, just to avoid one screw. So we won't do that, and we'll just I'll do an extra screw, each stud, screw. Then here, that's loose, that'll be loose, but I'll put a screw because I knew your stud was there, so that'll just find that same stud above. Alright, I think you get the gist of that. I'll screw that off. You don't need to watch me do that. And the final piece of plaster that we kept is that little corner there. In our Berkram builder room, it's about 58 degrees. Straight on. Simple, straight on there. I'll screw this off, and then we'll go on to the next video for the new plaster.